to touch on something that somebody asked me, I think yesterday. How do I make the horses in my barn as nice as your horses? And truthfully, it's all about the time you're willing to spend with them. And what got me to thinking about it is Logan, this morning, he's finally learned that the halter's not a brutal thing and whatever. So Logan was hard to catch if he didn't have a halter on at the farm that he came from. And I think, the fact that I had that much information, it's like, oh no, if he has a halter on, he'll come right to you. He's catchable, no problem, when he has a halter on. But when he doesn't have a halter on, he's like impossible to catch. So once he got here, I noticed the same thing, but I was aware of it, therefore I was prepared to kind of figure it out. Turns out that he was just afraid of the halter. He was a stallion until he was 5, so I'm going to guess he was handled with a chain over his nose, known as a stud chain. I'm going to guess that that's what he was afraid of. I'm going to guess that if he believed something was being put over his nose, it was going to be that chain, and somebody was going to yank on it. And he's a gentle, kind soul, that there would be no reason whatsoever to yank on this horse. So I'm going to guess that he was yanked on and didn't understand it. So anyway, what I came up with was, I realized today I don't have that problem anymore. He's not afraid of the halter anymore. We worked through it. Spent a lot of time just putting it on, taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, and just having it be a very gentle, very well explained. Can't find the word I'm looking for. So, but just made sure that he understood 100% that me putting this halter on you is not going to be painful. And now, like I said, I don't have that problem anymore. And then I thought about it this morning because Teddy has been using his size a little bit with me on his way in the afternoons. And I'm thinking, when I go away, Shayna's going to have to handle Teddy. And if she handles Teddy, is he going to be strong with her? How long do I have to get this completely fixed where it's not even something he tries? And then I thought, okay, maybe I should have Shayna bring him in so he can, kind of get the feel for her bringing him in. And that's when I realized that nobody has haltered and moved Logan since Logan got here. So what about Logan? Here I'm worried about Teddy, being a little bit of a strong hand. And then I'm like, oh, now I just realized, whoa, nobody's put a halter on Logan. Nobody's gotten Logan from turnout. Nobody's moved Logan out of his stall and put a halter on Logan in his stall. Maybe I ought to get, somebody doing that with him too, to make sure that when we go away that he's not going to suddenly say, oh, well, I trust her, but I don't trust you. So that's when I realized that sometimes it's just, that's actually my train of thought. That's actually what made me think of the owner of the farm where he came from. She had brought another horse here, Pax, and she had said that her personal horse was a challenge to catch, and she wanted me to come help her get him so she could catch him. And the one thing that she said was that she realized that, he probably doesn't want to come to her because when she does come for him, it's just to catch him and to ride him and, whatever. And she had a fellow with her, and I kind of, I'm a little bit black and white when it comes to certain things. And I said, well, at least you understand that part. At least you understand the reason your horse doesn't want to come to you is because you just use him. And the fellow said, well, that's half the battle, right? And I said, no, that's more than half the battle. That if somebody recognizes the reason their horse doesn't want to come to them is because of something that they do that is easy to change, well, now, now at least the conversation I have to have with you isn't gonna shock you, which is, you gotta learn to spend more time with your horse. Go out there and not have a plan. So back to the original statement was, how do I make, somebody asked me, how do I make, this is the person speaking, my horses, or the horses at my barn that I handle, how do I make them as nice as your horses? Well, there's 10 horses here right now, and I don't have magic 10 horses. You can make all horses just as nice and just as engaging and just as excited to see you as all 10 horses here are. And the way you do that is you go out in the paddock and you spend 10 minutes. If you've ever watched anything on my Facebook page, you'll see I literally have videos of me just visiting. But if you watch the way the horse responds to those visits, you'll understand why I do it. Okay, like recently I just posted some videos of me playing with Teddy in the snow. And all I did was I walk away from the fence, and then I'd walk back to the fence, and then I'd step up on the fence, and he'd come and he'd step over, and, as if he thought I was gonna get on him, and then I would just scratch him. And that was say 12-minute videos, I think, of me going out there and just playing with my horses for 12 minutes. People will grab a ball and a frisbee and a leash, and they'll get their car keys and they'll drive all the way to a park to play with their dog. I don't understand why people don't have the same concept about playing with their horses. Your horses eat it up and live for it as much as your dogs do. If you think it's fun to take your dog to the park and play with your dog, then try to find a way to make that your mentality when it comes to your horse. Try to find a way to convince yourself that your horse would totally love it if you came and went and played. One of the things that the other fellow that was here that day asked me is, or kind of made a statement is, I bet you they'd follow us everywhere if we went anywhere in this field. And I said, absolutely. The only thing that would have stopped them right now is the ruts in the ground, because the ground is frozen and the ruts are hard on them. So there's a chance that they would, follow us to a certain point and then say, you know what, it's not really comfortable on our feet. We're just going to stay here and watch you. And they will. They will just stay there and watch you. They wouldn't leave. They would watch to see where you're going, and maybe if you stopped and looked back at them, they would come to you, kind of like if you, crouch down and call a dog to you, they'll come to you and see, why we went over here. They'll go investigate why we went over here. Spend time with them in their stall, Don't go in their stall to catch them. Don't go in their stall to get them to go do something. Go in their stall to visit. But I don't go in my horse's stalls unless I'm invited. So what I would do is I would open the door and I'd wait. I'd wait for them to come engage with me. If they're going to stand at the far end of the stall and try not to make eye contact with you, they're not inviting you in. They're not inviting you in. And you know what? And to be honest with you, at first, you might have to just go in. Because at first, if you have a pattern of just coming and getting them to do something with them, chances are they're not going to come to you when you stand there. But if you have the time, I recommend and highly recommend that you do just stand there. There is I think an hour-long video of me when this horse Chase got here, sitting literally on the floor with his door open and him in the stall, not wanting to engage in human contact with me. Didn't want any part of it. And I sat there until we started having some, very positive interaction where he started nuzzling me and seeing what I was doing, and I piqued his curiosity because I wasn't there to do something to him. I wasn't there to take him somewhere to do something to him. And then all of a sudden he's like, and I'll say all of a sudden, we're talking like an hour or so video. And it was long and boring and not something people will probably take too much time to watch, but that's a very, very important, valuable lesson that I did with that horse. Seriously, all you have to do is get the mentality that I want to take them out and play with them. Meaning, and I'm saying it mentality like your dog. I want to take your dog to the park. If your horse is already out in the paddock, that's the best time. If your horse is already in the stall, and it's not like, you don't do it at turnout time. You don't disappoint them. You don't make them anxious. You don't like stand there at turnout time and be like, okay, I want you to hang out with me. They're gonna be like, hey, just get that halter on, would you? You gotta pick your times that you do the things you do. If it's 10 o'clock in the morning, they're outside and they're not expecting to come back in, that's when you go play with them out in the paddock. Not at 5 o'clock when they're expecting to be brought in for dinner and they want to know what the heck you're doing, and yeah, they're going to come to you because they think it's time to come in, but they're not going to want to hang out. They got food on their mind. So pick your times where it makes sense to them that you've come out for something different than what they already recognize as routine. Okay, so that's a trick too. So don't go hanging out with them when you're about to take them outside and say, oh, here's the 10 minutes I want to spend with you. Now, it will get to the point to where you can. Like in the mornings when I halter all my horses, I spend a little private moment with each one. Whether, it's a scratch or, because sometimes they have a hard time scratching their own faces. So, I'll scratch their foreheads for them after I put their halter on in the morning. And then that is our little special time just between us before I ask them to come out of their stalls. So you can certainly turn it into something you do at that time, but make sure that you do it other times. Make sure you do it when they're standing in their house, just bored, waiting for something to do. You know what I mean? Like when they're kind of played out with their hay, they're not really doing much with their hay anymore, they're just kind of picking through it just to kind of keep busy. That's when you go and you visit with them and you say, hey, are you bored? You wanna visit? You interested in a visitor? That is how you're gonna make your horse friendly, engaging, interested. That's how you're gonna make your horse want to spend time with you. That's how you're gonna get people to ask you, how do I make my horse friendly? That's how you make your horse friendly. That's how you make your horse want to be with you. It's really that simple. There's no magic thing you have to do. Sometimes horses that are really disengaged, like really not interested, I'll do something like I did with Chase. You can do that like in a paddock or a round pen or something where the horse has got the freedom to not be with you. And then all you do, like I used to with Ritz. I've had Ritz since he was a little tiny baby, so it's a little bit different. But like with Ritz, I used to just bring a chair to his turnout, and I would sit there and I'd bring magazines and I'd look at magazines, or I'd write on my laptop or whatever. And in all honesty, Ritz was a little bit different because Ritz already was very engaging, but he would find, kids get kind of jealous when you're paying attention to something else, especially today's day and age with the phones. How kids will try to get your attention while you're staring down at your phone. It's kind of like that. Ritz would get all upset that I was doing something other than playing with him. He'd come over and pull that magazine right out of my hand. He'd come over and smudge his nose all over my computer screen. He'd act like a child wanting attention. That's the kind of horse you can make by just paying attention to them. Just proving to them that you come to make yourself available to spend time with them. That's how you turn a horse into a friendly, engaging, even though they're nothing like a dog in the sense of species, when those people were here, they had, said it was like visiting with big dogs. You never want to misunderstand that they're not dogs, and make sure that, that they are respected as prey animals, but in the same sense, yeah, my horses are so comfortable and so sure that you came to spend time with them, that yeah, they interact with you like a giant dog. And all horses can be made into that kind of horse. All horses can be made into, a horse. There was, in fact, the young lady whose horse, who was here, has a horse, and And that horse, when she first met me, did not care for me much, because she just didn't care for people. But I was also there kind of telling her, we're gonna fix your attitude. And she, she was a little resistant to that. And all I kept saying to her the first 4 or 5 sessions is, you're gonna like me someday. You're not hurting my feelings right now, I promise you. You are going to like me someday. And now, as soon as Morgan gets in the saddle, Rainbow finds me and follows me everywhere. There's videos of me running around and her just running behind me. I've had multiple horses that I've done that with, where, I play with the horse while the person is on them, and they're just kind of a passenger in a game. And no matter who it's been, the person on the horse just giggles, because the horse is playing with me, and you're just getting to go along for the ride. It's fun to make horses believe that you're there to spend time with them. You're there to play with them. They like it. They play with each other all day long. You're a new face. Make yourself become their next best friend. It's possible. And it doesn't matter. I do it with every horse, whether they're brand new to me or I've had them my whole life, or I've had them their whole life. You just change your mindset. Horses aren't only about taking them out of a stall, putting them on cross ties, brushing them, tacking them, taking them to the arena, riding them until they're sweaty, maybe hand grazing them for 10 minutes because you're already bored and your phone, you're done scrolling through Facebook, and then you throw them back in that box. Horses aren't only for that. And trust me, if somebody came and that's all they ever did with you, I doubt you'd come to the door either. I doubt you'd come to the gate either. Think of it, we superimpose our human emotions on horses all the time, except for on the things that, you should put your emotions on. Would you come to somebody that's all they ever did with you? No. You know what I'm saying? So, make yourself more engaging, make yourself more a friend to your horse, make yourself more a playmate, but a playmate with rules, if that makes any sense. You don't want them to lose that boundary. It's always black and white as far as respect and who you are in terms of that herd of two. But in the same sense, if you make yourself a playmate, you make yourself somebody that they look forward to seeing. I always think of you have a dog in the house and your brother has 3 friends that come over on a regular basis, and one of the friends loves to throw the ball with your dog. As soon as your dog sees that friend, not the other 2, that friend, the dog goes and gets the ball. Excited, can't wait for them to come in the house because they're here, they're gonna throw the ball for me, right? The other 2 friends could come every day and the dog will just lay there like, oh, it's you guys, right? But the one that throws the ball is the one your dog wants to play with. So I don't know, just let your horses believe that they're more to you than some kind of sport utility vehicle that you pull out of the garage and you hammer down and then you put it back in the garage and go watch TV. Let your horses believe you want to watch TV with them. And it can be even as simple as that. Just, and brushing them as much as some horses like to be brushed. Trust me, a lot of horses don't. So that's not even, I don't recommend that. Not at all. Don't go brushing them. That's not, to me, that's not spending time with them. That's getting another job done, which usually serves the purpose of cleaning them up enough to put a saddle on them to go ride them. Horses make those associations, so trust me, brushing your horse isn't always what your horse wants. Now, if you're the type of person that comes and just brushes your horse to brush them and then put them back, like I had a young lady who had a senior horse here, and that's what she did. She'd come and she'd visit, and she'd brush her, and she'd just spend time with her, and it was really a very lovely thing. The horse was senior, so she wasn't being ridden anymore, and the horse saw that as their time together. But even that, the horse timed out. The horse would say, all right, had enough, and then she'd start getting a little fire in her feet and didn't want to stand on the cross ties anymore and that kind of thing. So, do things your horses want to do. Spend time with them the way they want to spend time. Play with them. Watch how they play with each other. Try to mimic some of that safely. That's how you're gonna make your horses nice. That's how you're gonna make cool horses. My horses aren't the only special horses in the world that are cool. And I know a lot of people do spend some time. I know there's another lady who I see videos all the time. She lives down the street and her horses are always playing, always playing. I see them playing, with a ball, and I see them playing with each other, and she just gets a kick out of watching them. I don't know how much she's in there playing with them, but the fact that she's spending time and finding pleasure in watching them play and letting them be themselves, that's priceless too. You're there. They're entertaining you. They know they're entertaining you. Ritz, for a perfect example, if he hears somebody laugh, it makes him do it more. So if they know they're entertaining you, that's just as good. If your horse is showing off for you, this one horse, I love him. He shows off. Helios. He shows off for his mommy all the time, and it's fun to watch. And I love that she always catches it on video. So anyway, that's that. Spend time with your horse, enjoy your horse, see the potential in your horse's ability to entertain you, see the potential in your horse's ability to want to be with you, and improve your relationship. It's really that